Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on Arrow Season 5. Now this is going to be my review for episode 12 of Arrow Season 5, otherwise entitled Bratva. But before we get into the actual review, there will be spoilers within it, so if you have not watched the episode, you might want to go watch it first, then come back to the video and talk with everyone in the comments. But quickly before we jump into my thoughts on the episode, if you do go on to enjoy the video or you just enjoy the episode in general, it'd be very much appreciated if you could leave a like on the video. Make sure to let me know in the comment section down below what was your favourite part of the episode and what were some parts that you didn't like. I'd like to know what you all think. And also, if you're new around here, make sure to subscribe. Now, the opening flashbacks for this episode sort of continued on from the end of last episode with Talia training Oliver. Now, it started off pretty brutal. I was thinking that Ollie might grab a few arrows and just drive them into those guys that he was beating up. I thought that might happen. But all the flashbacks in this episode were pretty solid. I think these flashbacks definitely recently have been really good ever since Ollie's met Talia al Ghul and is really creating that pathway to becoming the Hood, obviously in Season 1, and then obviously going into the Green Arrow as we get up to Season 4 and 5. Now, if you read the synopsis for this episode, we knew Quentin Lance was returning. I thought we might get a scene where he actually gets dismissed from rehab. We might see a scene with maybe him and Thea. In regards to where Thea is, it's really weird that we haven't seen her. We haven't heard her on the phone either, like in episode 10 when she was talking to Black Siren. So I don't know what's going on there, whether the actress is committed to another role, or maybe they just don't want to pay for her to be there. I don't know, it's weird why she's not there. I don't know if you know what's going on with Willa Holland, who plays Thea, let me know in the comments, but it's just weird that she hasn't been there, and this is just this excuse like, oh, she's doing all this Maya stuff elsewhere. But yeah, so hopefully she returns soon, because it's just weird when a character goes away for like no reason really. So we actually found out that we're going to Russia due to General Walker, obviously the dude who got Diggle and all that crap, got free and was looking to sell that nuke that he stole to the Markovians, which they pop up every now and then, so it was interesting to have them back on the show. But obviously they had to go because there was like the diplomatic stuff, like all the political stuff, and Argus and the US Army weren't able to go in and deal with it, so it's sort of left to a private sector in the form of Team Arrow to go and deal with it. Now, one of my favourite parts of the episode was actually Renee helping Lance with his interview that he had upcoming with Susan Williams. I did enjoy some of the funny stuff at the beginning of like them interacting, but it was pretty rough when Renee gets into like berating Quentin about questions about Laurel, whether he felt responsible for her death, whether her death caused him to get into this drinking problem and stuff like that. Which, as I said, extremely rough, but you could see why Renee was doing it, because Susan Williams has always been this tough reporter and she was obviously going to go down a similar road to this. But you had to feel bad for Lance because he's just come out of rehab and now you got someone berating you, reminding me of the problems that got you into that situation where you were constantly drinking. So it was pretty rough to watch. Now, meeting Anatoly again, even though he's been in most of this season, just seeing him again in present day was awesome. Now, we learned that he was initially against Oliver returning due to Oliver's actions to the fellow Bratva member, I think it was Alexei or something like that, in Season 2 of Arrow, which led to Deathstroke actually killing him. I think Deathstroke put an arrow through his eye or something like that. But you know me, I'm a sucker for connections back to Season 1 and 2, so I was all for this moment. Now, one thing I'm sort of confused about for what's going on recently is Felicity, because they did say that she was going to go down a dark arc following the death of Billy. Now, is this meant to be the dark arc where she gets all this information from Helix and all this Pandora stuff? Is this meant to be this dark arc where she's getting all this information, she's going to try and stop all these different things on the dark web? Because if it is, like, okay, it's like different than what Felicity usually does, but we've seen her do stuff like this before, so it's not necessarily new to us. So I don't know if the writers have just forgotten that they've done stuff like this before, or maybe, you know, in a couple of episodes' time, it gets more dark than we've ever seen Felicity get, and then it sort of makes sense why they're going to call it this dark arc. But yeah, at the moment, it's nothing new to me in regards to Felicity, so hopefully if they are going to deliver on the dark arc, hopefully it happens sooner rather than later. Speaking of the dark arc, we had drama within the team with Felicity and Rory based around what Felicity was doing and her being a bit more forward and maybe going a bit out of line than she should have to get information. And then we also had Diggle and Ollie after Diggle beats the living shit out of the dude who was working with General Walker. But obviously Ollie has a conversation with Diggle and Felicity, which sort of resolves things and sort of sets them in line and just, you know, refreshes their state of mind. I did think the line from Curtis about maybe not blowing up a van with a nuclear bomb in it after Dinah screams at her. It was pretty damn funny. Lucky the bomb was elsewhere though, and this is actually when Rory or Ragman does probably one of those brave things I think any of the characters on this show has done, where he wraps his rags around the nuclear bomb and lets it explode within the rag because they can contain it, they can survive the blast. So yeah, that was pretty damn cool. I was hoping they would actually show the bomb going off with Ragman there, but it would have been expensive to do, so they just showed like the exterior of the warehouse and like lights going off inside. So bit disappointed by that, but overall, like, I was happy with the choice. Now, one of the more tense moments in this episode was definitely the scene with Diggle and General Walker, and it was very similar to the scene from last season in season 4, where Diggle has that confrontation with his brother Andy, and he actually ends up killing Andy. Like, he could have killed General Walker there, and he's like, no, I'm going to resist this, and I'm going to make you stand trial and serve your crime, which he could have done with Andy, even though the Andy stuff was a bit more, not public. Like, General Walker was a big public figure and was known to be an outlaw, so it was very similar but maybe different at the same time. But it was the situation of that scene was very similar to last season, so I thought it just shows how much Diggle has grown mentally. Now, the Oliver and Susan Williams scene when they're in bed, obviously after canoodling, if you want to call it that. Wow, I can hear Twitter being triggered at this moment. Do not go on the hashtag Felicity for a while on the Twitter hashtag, because you might see some swear words and some foul language. But yeah, I'm predicting that Twitter got a bit angry at that scene. But one of the more touching moments of this episode was definitely Renee or Wild Dog's story about when he was younger on the streets and he got caught graffitiing or tagging on a wall, and a younger, Quentin Lance took him aside. Instead of taking him to the station, getting him in trouble, had a conversation with him about getting him back in line and saying, you don't have to go down this path, you can be something else, which really shaped Renee as what he is today. Even though he has like some issues with him getting discharged from the army, he could have been much, much worse. Now, obviously, I accidentally mentioned Ragman there, but speaking of Ragman or Rory, he leaves Team Arrow due to his rags not working anymore after the nuclear bomb going off. Now, do I think this is permanent? No, I think they'll magically come back at some stage, because Rory will come back. I don't see him not coming back. Like, it was a shitty farewell if he's gone for good, so he'll be back. The rags will somehow start working again. I don't know how. They did say that they are revisiting Haven Rock later this season, so we might get a scene with Rory before he joined Team Arrow, before Haven Rock got blown up, with him there. His dad's giving him the rags, so that might be it. Or maybe he goes to Haven Rock and him taking the rags to Haven Rock or something, revitalizes them or something like that. That's what I'm guessing might happen. But I think them going back to Haven Rock will have something to do with Rory's rags coming back to life. Now, the end scene with Susan Williams, we had something similar to this in the first half of the season with her talking to that dude. I have no idea who he is. I can't be bothered learning his name, but essentially, she finds out that Ollie is the Green Arrow. Like, it isn't 100%, oh, Oliver is the Green Arrow, but it is very, very hinted at. Ollie and this hooded archer figure were in Russia at the same time, so 1 + 1 = 2. So it will be interesting to see how that all plays out in the next couple of episodes. I don't know if it's going to be like straight away. Sometimes when on Arrow and other shows like this, when something big like this gets revealed, they might leave it for a couple of episodes before they bring it up again, just to give some other stories some limelight. But this is going to be a big thing, and it's going to be interesting to see what trouble this could get Susan Williams into, because if she publicly is going to out Oliver as the Green Arrow, Prometheus might kill her, because Prometheus wants to torture Ollie torture his whole life and everyone around him. So if Ollie gets captured or something, or he gets targeted, then Prometheus is going to go after the person that caused all of this. And who would it be? Susan Williams. So she better watch her back, because Prometheus might come for her. But overall, I thought this was a decent episode. I don't think it was a great episode. I thought the flashbacks for the beginning of the episode were pretty good. They sort of died off towards the end. But yeah, it was a decent episode. Not one of my favorites of the season, but I still enjoyed it. It was cool going back to Russia and meeting modern day Anatoly again. One thing I do think the show needs to work on, hopefully gets worked on in the next couple of episodes, is the new character of Dinah's chemistry with the team. I'm not feeling it at the moment. Like, a lot of people are hating on the character, which is fair enough. If you don't like her, you don't have to like her. I wouldn't say I'm in love with the character, because I still got to, you know, get used to her being on the team. But there's no instant chemistry. Like, I think when the other members joined, especially Renee or Wild Dog, when he came back and joined the show, there was that instant chemistry, like that back-to-back and back-and-forth conversations between characters. I'm not feeling that at the moment with Dinah. Even that one-on-one scene with her and Ollie in the truck wasn't the best, so hopefully it gets worked out in the next couple of episodes, so it isn't sort of weird to watch. But thanks for watching, guys. If you did enjoy the video, it'd be very much appreciated if you could leave a like on it. Let me know in the comment section below what was your favourite part of the episode, and maybe also leave what was your least favourite part of the episode as well. And if you are new around here, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys, and goodbye.